Extraverted thinking. What is the most effective delivery of these thought packages? Napoleon, Sun Tzu, Carl Sagan, and Richard Nixon form a quartet of extroverted thinking, ENTJ, psychometric role models for my thoughts about how to best strategize, how to best move aggressively and strategically in situations. Napoleon said a good plan executed today is better than a perfect plan executed next week. As an INTJ, I always think I can make the plan better. And there's many things in my life that I've been working on conceptually and understanding-wise for years. Problems that I pick on and I fine-tune, like I said, for years or decades at a time, and I'll set it aside and come back to it. I'll get bored with the problem. I'll come back to the problem. But there are situations where what is required is boldness. What is required is a well-formed sense of extroverted thinking, combined with my own introverted intuition. And sometimes I think, what would Napoleon do? Napoleon would form the best plan he could make in a given constraint of time and space and resources and execute it aggressively. This, of course, means that in some situations I have to ignore my own sense of how to make it perfect. Or, the circumstances aren't quite right. I don't feel quite right about it. Sun Tzu is the author of The Art of War, and I'm projecting ENTJ upon him because I think it's ENTJ thinking that is demonstrated throughout his book. Sun Tzu is probably a historical figure, possibly a composite. Once again, like with all psychometric role models that are already dead, it's going to be very difficult to say I know this person. Very difficult to make that statement. I would say that the core thought, now once again, I've read The Art of War several times and I have it generally internalized. Don't fight stupid. Don't fight stupid. Use your brain. Don't, just because somebody pushed you, don't push back. Just because somebody pulled a gun on you doesn't mean you have to pull the gun back on them. A key idea when you raise an army for war is you should have to pay out of your pocket once. Because if you're successful every single time from that point forward, because of the quality of your generalship, there will be spoils to share. Shouldn't be constantly raising money because your endeavor should be financially viable from the beginning if you have thought it out carefully and clearly. Not just been a victim of fear and standard business practices and doing things slowly and fearfully. Carl Sagan was we have a term poet laureate. I'm going to say scientist laureate. The leading scientific mind and science cheerleader. I'm fairly confident Carl Sagan would understand that that's both humorous and respectful. I'm not sure anyone else will. When I say science cheerleader, I mean he took deep, complicated ideas, presented them with such an enthusiasm and personal love that it made other people fall in love with it. That is something that those of us that have the burden of presenting deep intellectual things to other people sometimes forget. Part of it is, I want you to see how much I love it. Because I don't think sometimes it's pointless to learn deep, complicated things unless you found a reason to care about it. And Carl Sagan, I will say, I respect him scientifically. Obviously, he was not a believer, but I respect him scientifically, and I respect his accomplishments. But for me, the top of the list is, here is a Sheldon Cooper level intellectual that cares about what he's talking about, and you have to listen first and foremost because he's talking about something he loves. That's important. Think about that. Richard Nixon, not everyone's favorite. He did what he believed to be right. Whether you believe he was right to start the EPA, whether you believe he was right to restart negotiations with China, I believe it's always better, if possible, to talk to your enemies than shoot at them, personally. War is sometimes necessary, but it's awfully expensive, and to be avoided unless there is a goal which is worth the cost. Finally, when he was caught in Watergate, and Watergate is a nuanced political subject that I don't think is as black and white as people perceive it to be, because every president has done things to protect his party, and we don't know about it. He got caught, and that's what he did, was got caught. But I want you to think about the apology he made on national television, where, whether he did anything wrong or not, he knew America needed an apology, and he gave them a sincere apology. A look you in the eye, square-jawed, I take responsibility. I'd like to be that kind of person. If I make that kind of mistake, I think I'm too much of a chicken. But part of me says I want to be that kind of man if I'm ever in a position to make that kind of apology. So, when I am addressing situations that require strong extroverted thinking, the training wheels I'm using are the psychometric role models of Napoleon, Sun Tzu, Carl Sagan, and Richard Nixon. Thank you. Have a great day.